We're just 9 months away from British Columbians heading back to the polls, and when we do go back to the polls in May 2016, the BC Liberal government will be entering their 16th year of power. That's why I'm very pleased to be joined today by BC Conservative leadership candidate, Chloe Ellis. Chloe, thanks for joining us. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, your history, your past in politics, and a little bit about what a BC Conservative Party would look under your leadership.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Chris, and thank you to all the Rebel watchers that are currently tuning in and everyone else online as well. So my name is Chloe Ellis, and I am seeking the leadership bid for the BC Conservatives. I ran federally in the last election for the Federal Conservatives in New Westminster Burnaby, and also ran municipally in 2008. So since I was a very young person, I have been involved in politics, and we really need to have a re-energizing. We need more passion in politics, and we need a strong voice out there. British Columbia is not being well represented on the world stage or even nationally, and that's what I want to bring. So our Conservative platform, when I am leader, will be repealing the carbon tax. We will definitely set aside money in the budget to increase the personal tax exemption for British Columbians all across the province. And our commitment to you is to travel all across the province and really get to know British Columbians and what their values are and what their specific ridings need so that we can offer value to you.
Awesome to hear your position on the carbon tax. Actually, as you know, it's a very contentious issue in Alberta, and possibly with a national cap and trade, possibly carbon tax going in as well. We've had a carbon tax here since 2008. Do you feel that it's, do buy into the argument that a carbon tax is part of the social license needed by, governments or oil companies need to, in order to get some of these pipeline projects approved that we hear sometimes from the left?
I think it was a feel-good project for a lot of individuals that originally brought the tax in, and we and the Federal Conservatives stand together to repeal this tax. It's job killing. It costs small businesses and large businesses a lot of money that they could be utilizing for additional research and development into renewable resources. So that is something we're going to get rid of because it's really not effective, and it truly doesn't address what it was trying to, which is reducing GHG emissions.
Now, what would you have to say to some of the skeptics out there who maybe are, think back to the 96 election where Gordon Campbell won the popular vote but lost the election based on vote splitting with the BC Reform Party here in the Lower Mainland?
We have heard that from across the province, but please know that it is not our intent to elect an NDP government, and I know that the Conservatives and the Liberals both agree on that. So we are strategically choosing ridings in which two free enterprise candidates can run and where the NDP are not elected. So we are not going to be running candidates willy-nilly all across the province. We are taking this very, very seriously because we do not need 1990 politics back here in 2016 and into 2017.
Very interesting. I quite like that approach. It marks a difference from the past BC Conservative Party policies on that. Quickly, though, talking about sort of resource projects that are coming maybe to BC, let's start with LNG because that was the Premier's big promise last time round. Are you still supportive of the LNG push, and what would you maybe have done, would you do differently than Miss Clark's policies towards LNG?
Yeah, good question. Thanks. I support bringing Canadian natural resources to international markets, but LNG is not something I'm going to stake my reputation on like Ms. Clark did. We were promised multi-billion dollars of revenue and profits and all of these jobs that have never materialized, and they will not materialize. We recently lost the biggest LNG deal with Malaysia, and the Liberals have been sitting on their hands by not being able to get their projects approved in a timely fashion. So I support renewable resources and planning for the future population growth of this country and really addressing their energy needs.
Would that include the Site C dam project that's going on right now? Because there are some people who say that this is a project that is not needed. But if you look at energy demand in the future, especially if we move towards more electric cars, things like that, there will be a need for clean, renewable energy like hydro projects provide, like the Site C dam.
Definitely, and I think the Site C dam represents a paradigm shift of where we're really going with Vancouver, the Lower Mainland, as well as British Columbia. People want to start planning for the future, as we've seen with the Massey Tunnel project, where they should have twinned it, they decided not to, and now there's discussion of where they're going to be putting a bridge or where they're going to be adding, to the tunnel. So if we take this forward approach where we're really considering the needs and the wants of our future generations, then that's going to put our best foot forward. We want to leave our province better than how we started it, and that's my commitment.
All right, last question for you. Obviously, oil pipelines, very important for Albertans and Alberta and the whole country, really. Northern Gateway right now looks like it might be dead due to the moratorium put on by the federal government. But let's talk about the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion that's going to bring oil here to the Lower Mainland to ship to markets. Would you be supportive, unlike the currently BC government, who is sort of wishy-washy, sort of maybe playing politics, trying to gain votes this election by saying they're against it, yet we kind of think maybe they might actually be for it in the end or something like that. We're not really sure where they stand, do we?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head with one of the biggest differences between Liberals and Conservatives. We want to bring British Columbia's and Canadian natural resources to the market in the most safe and effective way. And to do that really involves pipelines. But it's up to us as politicians, that we have to educate people, and we need to speak with all the stakeholders that we can so that we can ensure that our environmental legacy is well sustained.
All right, Chloe Ellis, leadership candidate for the BC Conservatives. I'm Christopher Wilson here in New Westminster for the Rebel.media.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.